Hey, hey, good morning. Welcome to Spiritual Vacancy. We are here to help fill your spiritual void. My name is Brooke Ann. I am a psychic, evidential medium, and a Reiki practitioner, and I'm with the lovely.
Hey, I'm Mona Lee. I am an energy healer, energy worker, and just excited to be here.
And today we are talking about spiritual diets. And does your diet change the more spiritual you become?
Yes, we have had that discussion, Brooke, and it's such an interesting topic because it's like we both do a lot of spirit work. We do a lot of mind, body, spirit work. You work with spirit on the other side every single day, and I work in mind, body, spirit as well, somatic approach. And do you ever find that when you're working with spirit that you're not as hungry, or you might want lighter foods, or what do you experience?
Yeah, I always want lighter foods. If I eat like heavy, I feel so sleepy and I'm like just want to take a nap. Don't want
Uh,
to do anything, but I try to eat lighter, more fruits, more veggies.
mhm,
Or I might not eat till after I get done working, just
mhm,
so it's not like sometimes things bother me or upset my stomach, or like when you're working with spirit or we're doing this kind of work, you just want to be in the best physical feeling that you
yeah,
possibly could be.
yeah.
So I do eat a lot of fruits and veggies, and I'm gluten free
Mhm.
and dairy free. And I started that journey like 8 or 9 years ago. And
Mm,
that's kind of when, that was in the beginning of my spiritual journey too. And I do find it that people kind of change their diets the
mhm.
more spiritual they get.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
absolutely. I find that too. I find that like even some people that I've talked to that are like my daughter, for example, one of my youngest ones is very connected to working with her guides. She doesn't call it that, but I know that's what she's doing. And she is not, when she was younger, she started connecting and she didn't want to eat meat even. So she has gotten away from meat and eating more fruits and vegetables. I find that for myself as well, that I just want to eat light. I want to eat, it's almost like the body craves for that higher vibrational frequency, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
every bit of food has a certain frequency and a certain vibration to it. And just like water, drinking water is maybe something that I found also that my body needs more of when I'm connecting. So yeah,
Definitely.
what
You got kind of like dehydrated too while you're
yeah,
working.
right, right.
Yeah. It's like you
Yeah, it's
become more
energy.
thirstier. Yeah.
Yes,
You're putting
yes.
out your energy. And I know
Yeah.
I have tried to become vegan, but I need the meat. I've done so many different diets where I'll omit this or I'll omit this or, and I did a raw vegan diet last February, I think it was. That was like the dumbest thing I've ever done. It was literally for one, I was freaking starving, like
Oh.
starving. And not only is it like cold out, it's February, right? I
Right.
can't eat anything cooked. Everything that on a raw vegan diet is you have to just be able to eat it, like put it in your mouth. There's no cooking, no
Mm,
temperature. You just got to cut it and eat it. So I ate like a ton of fruits and veggies.
mhm,
Um, it got very boring because
mm,
sometimes you want like hot soup or a broth or anything, even a vegetable, anything warm.
right.
And there was nothing. And I didn't lose a freaking pound. I was
Mm,
like, how am I so hungry?
mm,
But I felt really, really good, but I felt tired. So it's
mm,
like I know that my body, as much as I've tried to like disconnect from meat or have like, because it's kind of like your daughter, you almost have like the empathy for the animal that
mm.
you're eating, or
Yeah.
you try not to picture where it came from or what their life was like before it ended up on your table. But
Right.
for some reason, my body functions better with the protein
Mhm,
than with just sticking to like fruits and vegetables or more of a vegan diet. For me,
mhm,
it's very hard, but I
mm.
do think about it where I
Yeah.
wish I didn't have to have it or I couldn't have to have it, right?
Wow. Yeah. I think if we could pay more attention to our bodies, like you mentioned that you did that diet in the wintertime, and to eat raw in the wintertime is very difficult because it is so cold outside and the body does want something warm. And if you look at it like when we were hunters and gatherers way back in the day, we survived on, what was provided for on the land, right?
Right.
I like to look in what I was looking in this past winter because I knew my body was changing and shifting at that time, as well as my thoughts, my mind, my work, and looking into the Ayurveda. So I took a class on Ayurveda. There's a wonderful source I found called Daily Om, and they have these little classes you can take, and you can take a test and see what type of dosha your body type is. So if we learn how to eat with our body type, then we can eat in certain seasons that our body type prefers. So I think that's also important for people to pay attention to that system. And that's a system that's an age-old system, like 5,000 years old, and that stem from India. So it's like sometimes your body type might want the warm. Sometimes in certain seasons, it might want the cold and the raw, like maybe in the summertime is better for your body type to have, and we all have different body types.
Yeah.
So that might be something for our listeners that I'm hoping they will, take a look at doing some research on Ayurveda.
Mhm.
So that is such a great approach to food. And a lot of their foods are raw, and
Mhm.
vegetarian or beans, lentils, of the Eastern type of foods. But
Right.
it feels good. You know,
Yeah, you do
it,
feel better.
it does. It does. You feel better. Even certain times of eating too. If we can learn about our bodies more individually, as far as when does my body need it, like intermittent fasting. I've done
Mhm.
intermittent fasting for years now to where I stop eating by say, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and I don't eat again until about 1 or 2, which I get most of my things done before then anyway.
Right.
So that's where the brain is a lot sharper, that can focus, can move, can groove without that, like you were saying earlier, the heaviness of the food that is in us when we're supposed to doing the work.
Yeah, it is. It makes a difference. Have you heard where people do like the long, like days and months of
Mhm.
fasting that they get more
Yes.
spiritual or in tune? And I'm like,
Oh,
you
yes.
kind of have to because like you're pretty much relying on prayer to still.
Yes,
Like that's
right.
like rough. I couldn't even imagine. My mother-in-law did a fast for like 30 days where she didn't eat anything, just drink
Mm,
water. I
wow.
couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, your body gets used to it. But I'm like, no, that is like something I don't want to get used to. Like,
Yeah, I love food. I love to
you
eat.
do.
Yeah, I love food. I love flavor and all of that. But yeah, it's very difficult. The fasting is very difficult. I did something years ago called the Master Cleanse, and that's where you're just cleansing and clearing all of the organs and all of everything in your body, your blood, your liver, all of the toxins out of your body. But it's a 10-day fast that you only do 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or lime juice, 2 tablespoons of organic maple syrup. It's got to be grade A, which is the dark amber, and then a dash of cayenne pepper, and then the 8 ounces of purified water. So that's called the elixir. That's the
Okay.
recipe. But then you just drink that all day long, constantly with no food. And it's got the amino acids and the vitamins and the minerals, but it cleans and cleanses everything. But oh my goodness, talk about hanger management.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did you feel? Was it like, were you actually like working while you were doing the fast, or did you just like kind of hibernate, or like what
No,
happened?
I was
Where-
still working on an everyday basis, but my brain was a little sharper. I was able to still function. I did get hungry and just like a little frustrated with the hunger part of it, but then
Yeah.
it really did take a lot more concentration to go, okay, no, I'm cleaning my body. I'm cleansing my body. And I tell you what, the stuff you release from your body is such a cleanse of stuff that was in the intestines for a long time. That is
Yeah.
pretty interesting to see what starts to be released.
Yeah. That's
Major
crazy.
cleanse. Yes,
Yeah. I
yes.
mean, that, like, I don't think I could do that. I mean, I have fasted before but like not on purpose. It was
Mhm.
just because of work. It was like I didn't get a break
It
to eat
happens.
or something for, like 12 hours. And you do get over to that point where it's like you're not hungry, you're just eating to eat. It's like you just
Mhm.
know you need to eat, but that the hunger pains are gone. Like you've already overcome that part of the day. So it's like, well, now I just need to eat just to
Mhm.
kind of feel satisfied that I did eat something today. But I really didn't have to. I could have just went to bed because I wasn't. It's weird how your body's like, I'm not hungry anymore. Those hunger pains have gone.
Yes, yes,
So I've
yeah.
never done a fast like that before where it was like 10 days. Mine just was never
Yeah,
on purpose or intentional.
gotcha.
And even with the raw vegan, I mean, I felt like I was eating more vegetables to try to make up for the part that I was missing, or like I wasn't getting enough nutrients, or it
Mm.
just always felt like I was missing something. Like I could only eat so much like raw zucchini and apples and broccoli and cauliflower. And it's just like, oh, I don't even know. I literally did it for 30 days.
Wow,
And I was,
that's a big commitment.
it
That's a
is.
big commitment. I find that too, as the spiritual growth is happening too, that it really is the lighter foods though, as far as the high vibrational leafy green vegetables and the fruits and especially the vegetables. It just feels like there's a bigger vibrational frequency with that.
I
So
believe it because if you talk to other people, their diets start changing when they start
Mhm.
becoming more spiritual. Like they'll be like, I'm
Yes.
not doing dairy, or I'm not doing gluten, or I'm not doing a lot of processed foods. I'm going more natural. Or they'll even start growing their own vegetables and don't even realize they're getting into that more spiritual side of like growing your own food and setting that intention and manifesting your healthy vegetables in your life. Like it's
I tell you what, yes, that does make a difference, and I think that also, and I've been doing that myself as far as the last couple of years of growing a garden and getting so excited and looking at the cucumbers every single day going, "Oh, it's getting bigger," and, "Oh, there's another yellow flower coming out, which is gonna be a cucumber," and that when you eat your own grown food and you know that it hasn't gone through the market and through the factories and through the it's just like it has a higher energy to it.
yeah,
It
it does.
really does. You can taste the lettuce. You can taste and without having any kind of pesticides or it's just all organic and fresh. There's nothing like it.
No, or like the
Nothing
GMOs and everything else they add into it. Like if you get
right?
a homegrown tomato, it
Yes.
tastes nothing like a grocery
Oh,
store. Like a
it-
grocery stores, there's like hard, no flavor, hardly any moisture to the tomato. Like it's just,
right?
but the homegrown one is delicious.
Oh,
Got so much
absolutely.
flavor and it's like that deep red color. And
Yes.
um and it's interesting how our food over here is so different from like Europe and
Mhm.
overseas, how clean they eat. They
Yes,
eat
yes.
very, very clean. Like most of the stuff that's allowed in our country is illegal over there.
Mhm, mhm.
And I wish it would start becoming that way with like the food dyes and things like that, because that can actually change children. Like they might not actually have like ADD or ADHD. It might be all the food dyes and the preservatives that we put in our bodies. That
Absolutely.
comes out in other ways too, whether it's mood or physical ailments. And then
Yes.
once you start becoming into your spiritual self, you start recognizing what it is that we put in our bodies and how bad it is for us. And then you start getting into yoga, which I just got home from. So whoever's watching
Yeah.
this on YouTube, I apologize. This is real life though, like me after yoga. But
Real.
you know, it's setting that intention of the spiritual practice. And I'm like, looking at everybody in the yoga class today, you know, there's like 20 people. It's a full class. There was a lot of people. And I'm like,
Mhm.
all these people, whether they realize it or not, are so spiritual by doing this work and setting the
Mhm.
intention and trying to heal their bodies, even from the inside.
Yes.
And I bet if I talk to them, I bet all of them eat healthier too,
Oh, absolutely.
or are more conscious
Absolutely.
about their diets.
And that would be an interesting study is to follow somebody after yoga class. Where are they going to eat? What are they eating? What are they putting in their bodies? And when I used to teach yoga avidly all the time, my body wanted those higher vibe foods. It's just
Yeah.
because it's necessary. The body knows the best. The
Yep.
body knows what it needs. I found that when I was vegetarian, did that for a few years, but my brain was missing the omegas, the fats,
Mhm.
the good fats.
Yeah.
So my body wanted salmon again. So I found myself becoming pescatarian once again, and with mostly vegetarian. But it really is, it's important to honor the body. Hi, kitty cat.
Yeah. And you kind of have to do what you need to do or how you feel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is interesting that you said that we were talking about the diets, because I'm like, oh my gosh, my friend Sherry that goes there, she's vegan.
Uh-huh.
And then another lady that they introduced today, just opened a all vegan ice cream shop in North Myrtle Beach called No No Nuts.
What?
And she's vegan. Yeah, the whole ice cream shop is
Yeah.
vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, obviously
Wow.
dairy-free.
That's
Um,
great.
but for me to be able to go get like vegan ice cream and a gluten-free cone is like, I don't get that usually. So the
Wow,
whole
that's
thing is
great.
vegan. Yeah. So I'm like, well, actually, I
Yeah.
know two people now that are vegan and that you I'm not vegan. I just don't eat dairy.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe one day my body will change where I don't eat as much. I don't eat any red meat though. I don't like red meat at all. So I do eat a lighter like chicken or
Mhm.
turkey or fish, salmon, things like that. But I don't do red meat at all anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't done red meat for probably about 30 years, and
Wow.
that's probably about when I started, like, my meditation practice, about 30 years ago, and I have not wanted any kind of red meat.
Yeah.
I'm just repelled by I'm just like, "Ugh."
Yeah,
Can't do
it's
it.
no, I'll get there one day. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? One day I'll be where I'm like, I just don't want to eat meat, but right now my body's like, I have to. I
yeah,
feel depleted or I'm starting to crave certain, foods, and it's like I need that to keep going. It just doesn't sustain my energy otherwise.
yes.
But yeah, I love it that everybody that we talk to, their diets have changed significantly since the spiritual
Mhm.
journey started.
Yes, absolutely. Another part of what I found also as far as putting in the body, I used to love red wine.
Yeah,
Like in the
wine,
evening time,
alcohol.
having a glass
Mhm.
of wine, and I found that over time as I'm growing and connecting to source more and more and more, that the alcohol really that's why they call it spirits, right? They
Mhm.
alcohol blocks spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
It blocks spirit. So
Mm.
it's like the body knows that if you're working, it's just like your body doesn't want that
No, you don't feel
alcohol.
good.
Yeah.
No.
No, not
It's
at all.
yes, that's such a good point because like
Yes.
when I quit smoking pot is when all my spiritual
Mhm.
stuff started flooding in.
There you
And
go.
then I used to drink a lot. I don't drink
Yeah.
hardly at all anymore. And if I do, it's like a glass of wine or two every now and then. But if I
Mhm.
have to work the next day, I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Prior to my spiritual awakening, I was drunk every night. Like we were doing shots at work and drinking, and it was like it was excessive. But then
Mhm.
then I started getting into the spiritual part, and I didn't want it. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
Just
the body
occasionally.
wants to be pure. The body just wants to be pure so that the mind can be pure, so that everything can be received so much easier. So
It
I
truly
love it.
does, and I feel like people will start getting sick. Like that'll be the sign of the spiritual awakening. You'll start getting sick if you smoke pot or drink a lot.
Mhm.
Or like for me, sugar. I'm starting
Mhm.
to get away from like all kinds of sugars. I don't normally do processed sugar, but I'm
Mhm.
trying to get away from honey and maple syrup because those even make me start feeling bad. Like
Oh,
I will
interesting.
literally feel like I'm hungover the next day. And I'm
Huh.
like, all I had was like my paleo treats, which, don't have any refined sugar in them, but
Yeah.
something with the sweetness is making me feel like crap.
Huh.
So I'm like,
Hmm.
maybe my body is changing that way too. And I know a lot of vegans don't even do honey. That's a very controversial,
Right.
honey is controversial in the vegan, and so are avocados in the vegan community. But
Oh, I didn't know about avocados being
oh yes,
really? I
yes.
wonder how. Why?
Something with the how they're I don't know if it affects the bees or like the bees do something with the avocados, like
Oh.
it's all goes back to the honey. And then like some vegans will eat avocados and some won't. And it's all
Oh,
how they're I don't know. I forgot what it is. I'd have
interesting.
to Google it. I can't remember now. But there's
Yeah.
something there with the avocados and the vegans not
In
wanting to eat them.
huh.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up, and you guys at home look it up too, because I forget. And I hope it's avocados and it's not something else, but I think it's
Yeah.
avocados. And
Interesting.
but even the natural sugars are
Mm.
starting to affect me because I will wake up and I'm
Mhm.
like, God, I feel so hungover and I didn't drink. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, what did I eat? So I'm
Yeah.
going through my diet and I'm like, oh, I had some of like, my macaroons or I had like something I made. And I'm like, okay, so I probably need to cut back on that because my body is talking to me that it's not liking it anymore.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. That is, I think, part of our conscious awareness and our awakening process, and finding out what are the symptoms going on, how are we really feeling, what kind of energy are we feeling after we eat a certain thing. Even the sugars and fruits, like you were saying, the sugars and things. Like I was eating a mango and it was a very ripe mango, but I thought, oh goodness, I can't eat even half of this mango because the
Mhm.
sugars are, it's loaded
Yeah.
with sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Mangoes are
Yes.
so sweet.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Even
Although when it's with some Thai sticky rice and coconut milk, mama does a
that's
good
delicious.
job. Yeah, it's part of my roots, so I can't deny that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
That makes it worth it then.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, I want to encourage all of our listeners, really just pay attention to your body, find out what is best and highest good for your body. Maybe take an Ayurveda online test that's free online, find out what your body type is, listen to your body. Do you really need that alcohol? Do you really need to smoke that joint? And
Right,
it blocking you if you're getting into spirit work, not to say, you got to be holier than thou and not
right.
drink wine or not, but just watch your body. Just watch what you take in, because what we take in really is what we become. It's in our cells, it's in our molecules, it's in our atoms, it's in what makes us vibrate. So look at the high vibrational foods. There was a study done, I believe it was Dobson was the last name, that studied all kinds of frequencies and vibrations of everything, including our words, our actions, our movements, our food, the type of food, what vibration it held. And that would be interesting to find out how we can live at a higher vibrational state to keep this ascension process of growth and enlightenment going. So that's
Yeah,
what we're here for. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening in. Let us know in the comments if you have noticed your diet changing, or you've made shifts in your diet, or your body's talking to you. And maybe this is what you needed to hear to pay attention to what your body, and you haven't started it, but it's coming. So we thank you for listening in, and we will see you
Thank
all
you.
next week. Have a great day. Have a beautiful day.
Yes.
And namaste.
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 Mm.
Mhm.